Good morning. This is Julz and Paekau coming to you from Auckland, New Zealand. Now tonight, well, early in the morning, 1 p.m., 1 a.m. here in New Zealand, on the 6th of August 2018. I am Julz and Paekau. Good morning, Crypto John. This is pretty early in the morning for me, but I just wanted to, this being my 99th broadcast, I have, which is not on the rota, but I have my planned 100th broadcast, which is now on the rota and planned for tomorrow. So later on the afternoon today. Good morning, Stephen Cuffey. Thank you for coming along. And so I just wanted to do my 99th broadcast and more or less reflect on things that have happened up till now, and it's more of going over things and allowing me to reflect my journey up till now. So thank you guys for coming along this morning, 1 a.m. here in New Zealand. And where I wanted to start was at the beginning of my journey with TBC, which was back in May of 21st of 2017. To be honest, I didn't take much interest in it. Having been sent a link from my cousin Sharon Weller, I signed up and everything, but my vested interest at the time wasn't at a high level, because like a wishy-washy entrepreneur that I was, I don't know how many programs I was in, and all to no avail, obviously. And one by one, to me, I was being raped of the funds that I was so happy to give away, enjoying this, enjoying that, and knowing all the time in my head that it was money being wasted. But I was one of those people who say, well, this one could work. This one could work. And, things come across your table. And next thing you know, you can't even keep up with the programs that you're in. And so after May and not taking an interest in TBC, I guess that was my downfall, because I should have sat up to it at that time. However, long story short, around about September, October, when the cookies rewards came into play, and so my cousin started really hammering at me and sending me things and asking me, oh, cuz, have you read this? Do you go and do this? And I was telling an outright lie. And I said, yeah, I had been doing that, but really I wasn't. So like I said, when the cookie redemption came along, and then I started to read things, and then I met Stephen Cuffey, and I met Randy Wilson at different times. And so I started to sit up to learn what TBC was all about. So I had about a month to learn what going to the blog meant, what being a student of the blog represented. And so I thought, well, and if I'm going to catch up with anything at all, then I'm going to have to buckle down and read the blog and interact with people in the TBC community. Anything positive was going to happen. So I did that. It's like 24/7. Any video I could get my hands on, I'd let it play. Even though I wasn't sitting in front of it, I could hear it. I went out, I'd make sure that I could have my iPad available or something that I could hear 24/7. Even in my sleep, I would go to sleep with my earplugs in my ear, and somebody would be playing, either Randy or Dan Lutz. And some of those guys back in before Christmas, they had some long videos. It's so worth the listening to. And eventually, by the time the cookie redemption had closed, I had managed to do transactions, learn the TBC, Kringles Cash Back Office as we know it now. My confusion would have been in the beginning signing up to the Kringles Cash link that was sent to me, because once I signed into the billioncoin.info section, I had used a different email, and so it didn't marry up with the wallet, and so that was probably the only confusion I had at the beginning of the program, because it was not being instructed that you had to use the same email throughout the process. But everything's fine now, with the great support from TBC admin and getting that all lined up. It was thus made easier too when people joined me. I was able to direct them that you had to use the same email from start to finish. But now, with the simplicity of the registration, that people can now come in, and my hat off to the TBC admin, who have just simplified the registration process now. Very understandable, easy to register now, and it's a great move on TBC admin's behalf. So, having learned and being a student of the blog, thank you to Stephen Cuffey, who continuously lets people know you must become a student of the blog. And I absolutely back him up on that 100%. For if you don't go to the blog, you will definitely get left behind, because it's one thing to ask people questions, but the blog is there to keep you updated 24/7. And without that blog and the interaction that TBC admin give to the community, uplifts many of the members there, because they know where to go. The majority of us know where to go, but it's still not, there's still some that are too lazy to go to the blog, and they insist on asking menial questions when they could just go to the blog and type their question, and then you guarantee you'll get a hit somewhere. So now, having become a student of the blog and updated myself, so I actually haven't taken my year from May the 21st of 2017. Why? Because I didn't sit up to it at that time. I've actually sat up to it around about September the 29th. So to me, I will celebrate my 1 year in TBC in September, because that's the day I sat up. That's the day I became a student of the blog, and that's the day I realised just what I had in my hands. And I couldn't be any happier with TBC right at this moment, and to think that, I'm coming up to my 100th broadcast, which I'm absolutely stoked about. And having, over the course of the months, I've had my complications, but my focus has been like a one-way roadmap. you know, I've had the bumps in the road, but you got to get back up. And I have allowed myself to focus on getting my health in order to be able to look after my abundance. And I'm so happy with that. So here I am on my 99th broadcast. And as I know, the milestones have been done. Many people have gotten over the 100 broadcast bump. And so I look forward to joining, you might say, the 100 broadcast society. At the moment, it's an elite society. So I look forward to joining that pivotal number. And I hope you can join me at that time also. So I've made my 100th broadcast sort of like an open affair. And I'd like to invite people along to my broadcast. Now, I'd just like to ask one thing, Stephen and John. Where do I find the link to invite people into my broadcast? I tried having a look the other day, and I see how people just put their Hangout link on into the chat room. Yes, it will be. Thank you, Stephen Cuffy. And if you're like, I've actually got my 100th broadcast locked in on the rota for 5 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. And I'd like to invite you along to my broadcast, Stephen Cuffy, if you're available. I'm not sure what time that'll be, and you might be asleep by that time. But 5 p.m. is works out for me here in New Zealand because the majority of my team are usually having dinner around about that time, and so I've actually set it to suit many people who will be happy to join me. At the top of your screen, click on the person. Okay, click on the top of the screen. Where am I? Okay, now let's go. Top of the screen. Top of the screen. Click on the person. Okay. There you are. Click on top of the person. Okay. And just sending a message, John. Thank you for that. Well, it's just the Hangouts part, eh? Is it just the Hangout part that I copy, or the whole thing? Try that. I'll put this. Is this the right link, John? Or just half of that? Thank you, John. So now I'll know what to do tomorrow night. And I'd also like to invite you along, John, if you're not busy at 5 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. I just thought, I'd make my 100th broadcast something a little special because I think Marianne is probably the only one. There may be others. Oh no, Marianne, Mum's Magnet, and but yeah, I think the list is not too big for some of us women that are hit the 100 target. But yeah, so the invitation's there, guys. I'd love to have you along. I've invited quite a few people along, so we'll see how things go. But thank you for that, John. I've been trying to look for that for ages, so, and it was so simple, but we live and learn. So yes, so carrying on with my journey, when Randy Wilson mentioned that after March the 21st, when the broadcast, when the 24/7, sorry, I'm getting all tongue-tied, when the 24/7 broadcast had begun, I had no idea that I was the second person to broadcast after Randy Wilson. So that really threw me when he went, and he's mentioned it a few times. So I was pretty chuffed that that had happened at that time. So being in sync with TBC up to that time, and my first broadcast, I even got a growling from my cousin Sharon Weller, because she wasn't impressed that I had worn us, because it was such a hot day. I just had a casual singlet on, and to her that was too much exposure. And so she sent me a little private message and said, "Not a good look, cuz, cover up." And I thought, "Ooh, who does she think she is?" But then I realised the approach was definitely wrong. The To be able to brand yourself, you have to at least look the part. So I learned from that very first growling, and I thanked her for it when she came. She's still here in New Zealand, and she came to the hospital to visit me a couple of weeks ago. So we have a good laugh about that now. So she's still here in New Zealand, so hopefully she can come around to my home tomorrow and sit in on my broadcast. But because she's just around the corner. So that was a lesson learned. You can wear casual as long as it's appropriate, and so I learned that lesson. So thank you to my cousin Sharon Weller for, that was a good tip off. But and then learning how to dialogue with people, and within the TBC community, and within such a short time, gathering an international audience, people that like yourself, John Harder, and your wife Marjorie, and Stephen Cuppy, and the many other broadcasters that we all interact with at their times of broadcast, your times of broadcast, and it's a wonderful feeling to be able to, I'm back at my energy levels are much better now, and I'm back at a point where 8 weeks ago I sort of dropped off the grill, but it's a process. Everything's a process when it comes to chemo, eh? But I'm not to focus on that anymore. That is not my focus. That's a different. That'll take care of itself. My focus is to get my TBC, even my team, even though they're all doing their own thing, they're still my team, and I care about them, and they know that. And my international audience, who throughout these last 2 months have been nothing but engaging with me and understanding of my situation, and giving me the positive boost and the ammo to, even when at times I couldn't even open my eyes, I'd try and make it so I could at least just look at a broadcast, watch somebody's broadcast. So now I am totally focused. My energy levels are great, and so getting back into just doing the cash flow program with Randy Wilson. Although I've missed a few, I have the ability to learn a bit more. on because my cash flow hasn't been too hot. I did a transaction yesterday, which was great after such a lull period, and I've had a few sign-ups over the weekend, so that's a plus. That's a plus to me. That's progress to me. 3 sign-ups and 1 transaction in the weekend. So those 3 sign-ups have paid their $10. It's just not showing at the moment. So to me, that's a busy weekend. That's a busy weekend for me, and I couldn't be more happier. And now, yes, thank you, John. I am doing much better, and so I'm up at this time every morning because I like to take my medication early, so you've got all day for it to work through the system, and I've got all day to flush it out. So that's why this time of the morning suits me. It might be 1 a.m. here in New Zealand, but I'm wide awake by this time. And like a video I put out the other day, I get caught napping in my broadcasting chair, so that's all right because I can doze in and out. But so I've actually teamed up with one of our other members. Her name is Paekau, and she lives here in New Zealand, and we've sort of teamed up, helping one another in the cash flow system that we have got going with Randy Wilson, and so we're helping one another also in that field of getting our cash flow incentives going, and so that's working out a treat too. So sharing my link, which I only just started doing over the weekend, wasn't as hard as I thought, because I said, you don't want to be putting your link out there on the Facebook page, because one thing you don't want to do is have our TBC links blocked by being displayed every few minutes. And so I'm happy to see that the Facebook pages are not saturated with our TBC links, because there is a proper way of doing it, and curbing one's interest to want to ask for more information, and the most simplest way, right here, doing the daily broadcasts, interacting, and putting your spin on TBC, and helping others, helping anybody that's willing to come in and look, to expand our TBC community to that million mark, to that billion mark. That's the set amount, 1 billion people into the TBC community. And wow, when that day comes, it's gonna, hit home to the community that's been there from the get-go. And however long that takes, the consistency of the broadcasters that are here, the TBC community that continue to thrive, well, it can only go from strength to strength. And this I put down to the TBC admin, who interact with us on a daily basis, and who who share as much as they can regarding everything that's happening around the globe, but everything that pertains to helping our community look even better in the eyes of the world. Because I believe that the TBC admin, with them reaching out to those videos that matter, as far as the elite doing what they're doing, and the TBC community will be able to avoid all that crap that they're trying to rain down on on everybody in the world. They want that control. that will give us the ability to loosen that control. You know, it can't go on any longer. They can't have their way. But we can have our way. And that's why, you know, you can't thank TBC admin enough, because they've opened the door, sort of like a Pandora's box, and there's nothing but good coming out of it. Coming out of this box, that the TBC community there. Now we're gathering, we're mustering. The masses are gonna come. They're gonna come. And we have that integral part to play to make sure that all comes about. And here in New Zealand, I've become a known feature here. There's not too many people in TBC here in New Zealand that don't know me and have been reaching out to me since they can see that my journey is still happening, but I'm now fixed and ready to interact with, you know, my people here and my international audience. But you know, we're only a 4.6 million population here in New Zealand. That's us. The whole, from the top of the North Island to the bottom of the South Island, that is our population. But we're a beautiful country. So we have 4.6 million people here in New Zealand, and very diverse. We have got the ethnic culture going, you name it. But we are a beautiful country. And so our membership here in New Zealand is 12,000 at the moment. So, you know, I'd love to know the whole 12,000 of them. But, you know, the TBC community is just about bigger than our population here in New Zealand. So 3.2 million people in TBC right at this moment. And so, you know, catching up fast to our New Zealand population. But hey, you know, if I could get New Zealand up to 1 million people, whoa, you know, and it's not impossible. It's not impossible. So we have many hard out broadcasters here in New Zealand. As you know, we've got Doc Joe Stevens, who won his 2 tickets on the cruise for next year. So, you know, we're not doing too bad. And with the latest competition happening, the recruiting of people in the month of August, signed up, registered, you know. So as I mentioned yesterday, I've got my one family alone. As you know, John, you've got a big family. You know, that tallies quite a few people all in itself. So who knows what the month of August is going to be. But one thing I know for sure, I'm going to make good of this month. I'm going to make it worthwhile. You know, winning 2 tickets on a cruise, that's a big thing. You know, because Doc Joe Stevens now has got to get himself over to Acapulco to catch that boat. But it was the style in which he won those tickets. So professional. And kudos to him, because he did a brilliant job. And so who knows? You know, 2 people from the Philippines who won their tickets on the cruise. So the month of August is definitely going to be a good month, because I can feel everybody's energy levels. It's like everybody's stepped up a notch and getting ready to, you know, boost this big TBC family along. And the broadcasters that are doing a brilliant job, you know, this time of the morning it's very busy. The traffic's very busy this time of the morning on a global scale. I'm just happy to poke my nose in for the short time to, but I hopefully, as I have said, I'd love to have you along at my 100th broadcast, if that's at all possible, 5 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. And it'll probably just zip by, because if my audience do turn up, and I'd love them to all be on my panel, and then we can all have a quick catch up and maybe have a couple of good laughs. But it's been a brilliant weekend for me, because what I've managed to do in the last 2 days is pack in and definitely pack in 8 broadcasts, or was it 9? Yeah, 9 broadcasts just in the last 2 days. So, look, I've got to show you something. I've got to show you my little mistake I made. So let's go here. Just going to share my screen for a minute, guys. Just bear with me. Oh, where is it? I have to log back in. So I'm going to log into my Kringles Back Office, because I'm going to show you a boo-boo that I made. And it took me a couple of looks to realise what I had done. But here we go. I'll show you what I've done. Right, here in the broadcasting reward area. Now let's scroll down to the bottom. Now, all my broadcasts have been approved. Now, over here, I thought, what on earth has happened here? There's these 2 broadcasts here, and one up here. Here's the other, and here's the other one here. So 3 broadcasts, and it was only a million. What was it? Yeah, it was only 1 million. And I'm thinking, what on earth happened? I've only got 1 million for these. Oh no, that's from the starting up there. 1 there, that's the first one, and then 2 down the bottom here. And I thought, what on earth has happened here? And then I looked over and I realised that I had put the month in the wrong place. It all makes sense that, everything marries up. So what I had done, I had put the month first and then the date. And that makes all the difference. You will only get the 1 million because you haven't entered it properly. And so here's the other one. Here's my other boo-boo. So I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but I certainly have now. So the other broadcast, I've definitely put the right way, month before the date. So lesson learned. Make sure you enter the month first in order to get your 5 million cookies instead of 1 million. But hey, it all counts. So I'll just come back here. So yeah, lesson learned. So now I know. Put the month first, then the date, and then the year. And then you'll get your 5 million cookies and not 1 million. So that was 3 broadcasts that I only got the 1 million for. But I can't complain, because the cookie rewards are going to be smashing by the time November rolls around. So that's my broadcast number 99. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, John Harder and Stephen Cuffey, for coming along to my 99th broadcast. And as I said, an open invitation if you'd like to join me tomorrow night, New Zealand Standard Time at 5 p.m. for my 100th broadcast. I'd be more than happy to have you along. So with that being said, have a good morning, like it's only 1:30 a.m. in the morning here in New Zealand. So it's been lovely catching up with you guys, and hope to see you soon, and I can catch up with your broadcast. And so this is Julz and Paekau coming to you from Auckland, New Zealand. Trusted seller here within the TBC community. Thank you for coming along, guys, and see you soon. From me, Julz and Paekau, ka kite anō. Bye for now, and see you soon.